Shalom. How are you doing? Welcome back. Today we continue with the ancient Triennial Torah study. This is, if you're new, this is the ancient cycle of studying the Torah, which predates the Babylonian cycle, which is used today. Today, most Jews around the world read the Torah on about a 1-year cycle. 54 parshiot, I believe it is, this was a reading cycle developed in Babylon because the people were forgetting, and so the rabbis decided to increase the level of Torah reading. But the more ancient reading cycle, also known as the Palestinian cycle, is what we're doing. It's a 3.5-year cycle. It repeats twice every Shemitah year cycle, so every 7-year cycle. That's every sabbatical year. And this is what our ancestors did in the land of Israel. I believe it's also what was read by the Master with his disciples. And that's why it would make sense that he would have finished at Passover, just like we finished this last Passover, our first cycle through this Shemitah cycle. All right, so today the Torah portion is Genesis chapter 27, verse 28 through 9. And it's called Vayiten Lecha HaElohim. Then the God gave to you, or will give to you. And here, in case you're wondering what the picture is about, we have Esau, and he is courting some Ishmaelite daughters, looking for wives. All right. Adonai, Adonenu ma'adir shimcha, ki yiratzon ki bayom hazeh anachnu yochalim lelmod tov ba'einecha. Ki ani yoshev po al hashulchan v'talmidai הם עכשיו בכל העולם. בי אבא, תשלח נא את רוחך עלינו, כי אנחנו רוצים לראות את פניך. All right, here we go. Let's get started. So here we have the ancient text. This is from the Leningrad codex. And by the way, I was correct last time. The fellow who corrected me, I had been calling it the Westminster Leningrad Codex, which is just the digital name, the name of the digital copy that's made from it. So I did call out correctly his channel. It's Gilgamesh. Thanks again to Gilgamesh for catching that. And on the left, we have the BHS. This is the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia. It's a critical text. So sometimes you'll see a letter on there like B we have here, or A or something. That's just telling us that there's a footnote that talks about other variant manuscripts. All right, so what I will be doing is I'll read first from this, and then we'll read from this. All right? So Genesis chapter 27, verse 28. Vayiten lecha ha'Elohim mittal hashamayim u'mishmanei haaretz ve'rov dagan v'tirosh. All right, let's read and translate now. And you'll see there's a little bit over here, up top. What's going on with that is this is from the bottom of the previous column. So that would have been kind of hard to show. So instead, I just did a little picture of it, and I moved it up here. So, Vayitain, and he will give, Lecha, to you, Ha Elohim, the God, Mit Tal Hashamayim. Min became mit, so you see there's a dagesh there in the tet, from the ta, Tal Hashamayim construct. Tal means dew of Hashamayim, of the heavens. So it's a poetic way for saying rain. Modern Jewish scholar Nachum Sarna says the dew of heaven symbolizes agricultural prosperity, indispensable for a nation's survival in the land. And me. It's hard to see the dagesh. There should be a dagesh in the sheen. It looks like it's worn out in the Leningrad codex. Well, yeah, we also don't even have it in the BHS. I guess they didn't want to overcorrect, but presumably there would have originally been a Dagesh right here, because we have me, and there's a Dagesh in there, right? As you can see in the BHS, because it's the word min, min meaning from, and the noon has assimilated. So the same thing should be happening here. So there's a Dagesh that has worn away, it seems. Umish, and from, Shem, Shemane, ha, and from her, Shemen, or Shamanim actually. Shemen means oil or fat. It's the kind of fat that you're allowed to eat, not the organ visceral fat, but the kind of fat which is permitted. And from her fat. Okay, actually, it's actually not Mishamne, huh? This was a problem because I'm reading from the actual scroll. Actually, the ha is part of the next word, haaretz. They just were kind of pushed together in the scroll. It actually would work also the way I translated it, but and from the fat of is really what it is. Umi, and I kind of expected that before as I made the construct sound, if you remember. Shemane, fat of haaretz. It's really fats of the land, meaning all of its abundance. The rov, and the rov, abundance of dagan, of grain. The tirosh, and new wine. Okay, let's continue. Verse 29. Ya'avducha amihim v'yishtachavuhu lecha le'omihim heve gevir le'achecha v'yishtachavu lecha b'nei mecha ororecha aruhu u'mivarachecha baruch. All right, let's translate now, verse 29. Ya avducha, they will avad, they will serve you. Amim, peoples. Vayishtachavu, and they will prostrate down lecha, to you. Now I want to make a note here. This word, yishtachavu, they will prostrate down. The word yishtachavu here clearly means prostrate down, as in to a king. Yet many New Testament translators will render its Greek equivalent, proskuneo, as worship in instances such as the wise men offering tribute to Melech Mashiach. You understand? This is a normal thing to do to a king or to just someone you're trying to show a lot of respect to. Avraham Avinu does this to the Bnei Chayth, to the sons of Chayth, when he buys the cave from them. He nishtachave, he proskuneo. He's not worshiping them, he's prostrating down. And that Jewish Greek word means the same thing. Proskuneo means the same thing. So it's really a choice to decide to translate it. So a lot of times people's worldview impacts how they translate, right? So they'll just, but I think we need to be careful when we're saying worship. If you select it, if you select to interpret it as worship instead of bow down or prostrate down, that's kind of a big theological leap. So at least be aware of what's happening. If you're going to agree with that, be aware that there are other translation choices. Right? Clearly here, they're not worshiping. He's not saying peoples will worship you. God forbid. He's saying they will bow down, meaning they'll be subjugated to us. Lecha, to you. Leumim, peoples. Chevwe, which became chevve. Now, this is an imperative so the verb is hey, vav, hey, which is very similar to haya. When a yod and a waw, they oftentimes can change. This means become. Become. So, hewe, become. Givil. Gimel, beit, yod, resh. Givil. Givil. a lord, le'achecha, to your brother, ve'yishtachavu, and he will prostrate down, lecha, to you. Again, not worship, but prostrate down, just like the wise men coming to the master. They prostrated down very clearly, bringing gifts. They're looking for the one called king, so clearly they will treat him as one would before a king. It's just kind of a big leap to jump to worship there. B'nei imecha, the children of your mother. And now we have a very famous statement. Orerecha, those who orer you, those who curse you, aru, I will curse. The verbal root is aleph resh reit, but when you put an aleph in front, it's so here we still have it, but here we just see the aleph from I. When you have an aleph in front of an aleph, they usually collapse into just one aleph. Now this shows up in other places. This one's pretty clear, right? Those who curse you, I will curse. Olecha, aru. It even sounds similar. But in other places, it says mekalelecha, aru. Those who belittle you, I will curse, or those who treat you lightly. So very, much more dangerous rendering of this in the Torah. Okay, continuing on. But mevarachecha, those who barach you, those who bless you, baruch, are blessed. It's interesting. It's like they're blessed already. Those who curse you, Hashem says, I will curse. He's like, I will actively be involved. Those who curse Jews will get cursed. I'm speaking to the groypers out there. All of you, I'm speaking to Candace Owens, to Tucker Carlson, and all the other anti-Semites out there. You're going to get cursed. Now, I'm not saying it. It's a warning. Hashem is saying it. And he says he will take an active part in the cursing, I'll rule. But for those who bless Israel, those who bless you, both are blessed. It doesn't say but there's not there's not an I there, just both are blessed already. So it's kind of interesting. It's like the state of blessing shall remain on them, will not be stripped away. Oh, sorry. I was thinking we were done. Verse 30. Vayhi kasher kilah Yitzchak levarech et Yaakov. Vayhi ach yatzaho yatza Yaakov me'et penei Yitzchak aviv. Sorry, it's some interesting cantillation choices there, so it was throwing me off a bit. Let's translate here to the Etnachta, verse 30. Vayhi, and it was ka'asher, or it will be, according to how Kila completed Yitzchak levarech, blessing, et Yaakov, Jacob. So just as he completed blessing him, now here's where it gets interesting. Look what it says. Vayhi, and it was, when, yatsa. So indeed had gone out. This means like at the very moment when it had gone out, had departed Yaakov, me'et penei Yitzchak, from with Yitzchak, literally from with penei Yitzchak, the face of Yitzchak, or the presence of Yitzchak, Aviv, his father, Esau, that Esau, Achiv, his brother, mitzed, from his hunt. Any comments or questions? Let's just read from the Leningrad Codex one time through here from this page, for those who want to practice that. וייתן לך האלוהים מטל השמיים ומשמני הארץ לרוב דגן ותירוש יעבדוך העמים. וישתחוו לך לאומים הווה גביר לאחיך וישתחוו לך בני אמך ארורך ארור ומברכך ברוך. Verse 30. ויהי כאשר קהילה יצחק לברך את יעקב, ויהי אך יצא יעקב מאת בני יצחק אביו, ועשו אחיו בא מצדו. All right. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm so glad you all could make it. All right, continuing with Genesis chapter 27, verse 31. On the BHS side of things. ויעש גם הוא מטעמים ויבא לאביו. ויעש. Then he made, so it's ra'asa. Actually what's happening here is we're missing the hay. The hay went away. Gam hu, also he, mata'amim, dainties. Vayave, and he brought le'aviv, to his father. Continue on. Yakum avihi ve'yochal nitzet beno va'avu tevachani nafshecha. Okay. Vayomer, and he said le'aviv, to his father. Now this is interesting. Oh, I must have skipped. And he brought it to his father. Okay, yeah, I skipped, sorry. And he said to his father, okay, good. Yakum, arise, or let arise, really. Avi, my father. Ve'yochal, and let him eat. See, you can see he's speaking differently. It's interesting. Mitseid, from the tseid, the hunt, the game of Beno, his son. Ba'avur, so that tevachani nafshecha, so that your nefesh might bless, well, that she might barach, bless me. Now the Midrash, Breshit Rabbah 67, paragraph 2, points out that Rabbi Yohanan said Esau's dish was an idol's offering, hence not accepted. And just a reminder, of many of the Midrashim, this one is very weighty. Midrash Breshit Rabbah. Not all of Midrash Rabbah, but Breshit Rabbah, because this one is accepted by our brothers, Beta Israel, as actually being canonical. So even though we don't treat it as canonical, we value their opinion. These are the Jews of Ethiopia, the Philatians, the descendants of the Queen of Sheba and Shlomo HaMelech. All right, verse 32. Let's continue. Vayomer lo Yitzchak aviv miata. Vayomer ani bincha vechorecha Esau. Vayomer. Then he said, oops, I meant to be reading over here. Oh, that's right. Then he said, lo, to him, Yitzchak, aviv, his father, me. Me means who? Are. Ata, who are you? Vayomer, and he said, Ani, it is I, bincha, your ben, your son, bechorecha, your bechor, your firstborn, Esau. Verse 33. Vayecharad Yitzchak, charada gedola, ad meod, vayomer, mi efohu, hatzad tzayid, vayave li. Va'ochal mikol beterem tavo va'avarechehu gam baruch yichyeh va'yecherad. And he shook a lot. Yitzchak, charada gedolah, a violent shaking or a great shaking. Ad me'od, until a lot. Vayomer, and he said, me, who was it? Ephel, then. Who? That guy. Or that. Hatzad Tzayid, who had hunted game. Vayave, and he brought li to me. Va'ochal, and I achal. Notice that you only end up with one aleph, right? Achal is to eat. Ochal is I will eat. But va'ochal is then I ate, or and I ate. Mikol, that's from min kol, from all. Beterem, before. Tavo, you entered. Va'a, va'chehu, and I barached, I blessed who? Him. Gam, indeed, baruch yichyeh, blessed he is, or blessed he shall be. Any comments or questions? How you guys doing? Everybody doing all right? Oh man, looks like I'm out of my drink that I brought down. I've been avoiding oat milk in the week, and I brought some down to drink for Shabbat. And it's done. I can't believe it's done already. So sad. All right, let's continue. Genesis chapter 27, verse 34. Kishmoa Esau et divrei aviv, ויצעק צעקה גדולה ומרה ועד מאוד, ויאמר לאביו, acheni gam ani avihi. This is where many of the goyim often feel sorry for Esau. Oh, that sneaky Jew, that sneaky Yaakov, Jacob, what a usurper, look what he did. The other one's crying. He's crying. And that's because people, one, they've practiced a religion which values emotional response more than deeds, more than po'alei tzedek, right? It's greasy grace, which is motivating a lot of people. And two, they don't know the traditions, so they don't know that these are not little boys. You know, everybody feels bad for a little kid crying. Esau's a grown man. He's a little kid, grown man. And I don't mean 18 either. He is grown, brain completely developed. Okay, as I shared last time. So I think it's the ignorance from tradition on the age, which you can figure out those things too by just adding around and stuff. And it's also having religion which is based on emotion, which is highly valued. Think about what's valued in a lot of religion. Someone gets up and tells a story and cries a lot, or even just someone stands up and cries a lot. Oh, they must be, that needs to be paid attention to because they're crying, right? No, no. Sure, it's fitting to have emotional responses. We all do sometimes to Ruach HaKodesh and such, right? But we're not after those responses. We're not seeking those responses. The responses in and of themselves are not really witnesses for how great our God is. You know, I've seen moon god worshippers crying, talking about what their moon god had done for them. You know, we don't base that on that. We love the Lord our God with all of our levav. Again, many people misunderstand that to mean heart, as in the English meaning of heart, when really it means mind. Love him with all of our mind. And then you don't get into as much trouble. You don't get into as much problems. We don't get tricked so easily by people because we feel we need to placate their tears or something. And that's what's happening here. Esau is crying some tears. He knows he sold the birthright. He knows it. But he wants to steal it. He wants to steal it. He didn't think that would last. All right. So let's go. Kishmoa Esau. As Esau heard, this is a infinitive construct in case you're wondering. So literally, like ki or ka if it were by itself, kishmoa, as the hearing of Esau. So when Esau heard, or as Esau heard, et divrei aviv, the devarim of his father, vayitzak tzaka gedolah, then he cried out a great cry, mara, and bitter. So a great and bitter cry, ad me'od, until exceedingly. It's literally what it says. Vayomer. Then he said, Le'aviv, to his father, Baracheni, bless me, Gam ani, also I, Avi, my father. Verse 35. Vayomer, Bachicha b'mirma, V'kach birchatecha. Vayomer, then he said, Ba achicha, came your brother achicha, bemirma, deceitfully, literally in deceit or with deceit, with mirma. Which, by the way, very interestingly, mirma in the Psalms sometimes means a figurine. Figurine. Have you ever seen that movie, The Gladiator, and he carries around his family, like little statues of his family, to pray to them or to pray for them? And his African friend says, "Are those your gods?" And he's like, just kind of smiles and nods. So people used to carry around sometimes little idols, right? So mirma, poetically in the Psalms, can mean an idol because it's mirma, it's deceitful, right? It looks like the thing, but it's not the thing. Vayikach, and he took birchatecha, your beracha. So beracha reverts back to birchat for the construct form. And then we add cha to the end, the blessing of cha, of you. Nachum Sarna comments that the narrative crystallizes sibling conflict as a theme of Genesis, recurring through Israelite history, right? I mean, all the way through David's children, we see, in many of the king's children, we see this sibling conflict over and over and over again. Genesis chapter 27, verse 36. Well, I'm getting thirsty. I think I'm not going to sing this one. When we do it live, I could just say, someone upstairs listening, bring me some water. But I'm pre-recording it now, so we don't have any of those audio issues. Vayomer hachi kara shemo Yaakov v'Yaakaveni ze va'amayim et bechorati lakach v'hine ata lakach birchati vayomer halo atzalto li beracha. Vayomer, then he said, Hachi, is it not this Kara that is called Shemo, his name, Yaakov, heel grabber, Vayaakaveni, for he has grabbed my heel, like tripped me. Ze fa'amim, this times. See, he speaks weirdly. Should have been ele fa'amim. He says ze fa'amayim, this 2 times. Pa'amim would be times, so this is pa'amayim. The ayim means 2 of a thing. It's a dual ending. Dual. Yeah, right there. Don't see that often. this 2 times. That's the dual. These 2 pa'ams, 2 times. 2 strides, it's a stride. Et bechorati. Now we're having special emphasis, and maybe let me mark this as with special emphasis. So we're going to have a verb, but the definite direct object marker is coming first. So that means it's out of the normal word order in Hebrew. So this is expressing emphasis. Okay? It's emphasis. He's emphasized it. So he's saying, Et bechorati, my birthright, lakach, lamed kuf chet, which has the meaning of take, but we learned from Ugaritic that lakach can also mean buy. And there's a concept in biblical Hebrew called Hebrew parallelism. And what that is I want to mark it in the clearer text, okay, first. So when you use the same word twice in a verse or in close proximity, like lakach, and it has more than one meaning, usually the author is using this concept of Hebrew parallelism to tease out the other meaning of the word. In other words, it's not usually meaning the same thing in both occurrences, right? So here I'll mark it in the Leningrad codex also, and coming up. Okay. So here's how I understand it. Since we learned from Ugaritic that it can mean to buy, so et bechorati lakach, my birthright he bought. Vehine, and behold, ata now lakach, he has taken birchati, my bracha, my blessing. So he bought my birthright, and now he's cashed in on my blessing, is basically what he's saying. He's admitting it. He's saying the thing out loud. He's admitting to his father how wicked he was, that if someone lakached it, that means you sold it. You machard it if he lakached it. He bought it. You get it, guys? Zeh fa'amayim, these 2 times. Et bechorati lakach, my birthright he bought. Vehine, and behold, ata now lakach bechati, he has taken my blessing. He's almost saying, he swindled me out of my birthright, but that doesn't mean he should have gotten the blessing, you see? But in so doing this, he's admitting that he bought it. And probably your English translation doesn't say this. It's probably just take, right? But let's be fair, you can go very deep with Hebrew, right? I would not have known this if I hadn't studied Ugaritic. Ugaritic, if you don't know this, many people think that Aramaic is very good to help with your Hebrew, and it helps, especially Jewish Aramaic, right? But it's not the closest language to biblical Hebrew. The closest language known to scholars, the one that's closest to biblical Hebrew, is Ugaritic. But we have a lot of tradition and a lot of time before the discovery in 1929 of that language. So if you're studying from an older lexicon, you might not always get all those nuances, yeah? Or if you're just learning from rabbinical tradition, you're also not going to get all of them, right? So I think this is I think I translated that one in my book too, didn't I? Someone who has my book, maybe check. I think I said bought here, hope so, or at least made a note about it. If not, pencil it in there. All right. Continuing on. Vayomer. Then he said, Halo, is it not Atzalta? Was it Atzalta? Oh yeah. Atzal Aleph Tzadi Lamed. Reserved have you not reserved li for me? A beracha, a blessing. Have you not reserved a blessing for me? That's a fair question. It has to all go to the firstborn, to the Bechol, which is actually justice. It shouldn't be that way, right? The whole concept of a double portion for the firstborn, it's not the European way of doing it. In Europe, it was pretty terrible. Like if you had lords of a manor or something and he had a son, the son got everything when the father died. The wife got nothing. The children got nothing. Only the firstborn son. But that's not the biblical way. The biblical way is you divide up the inheritance into one portion, right, per heir, right? And then you add one more portion to the mix, right? So say you've got 3 kids, it's going to be divided up to, right? So you got 3 sons. That means you're going to make 4, you're going to divide the inheritance into 4 parts. The firstborn gets a double portion, so he gets 2 of those, and everybody else gets one of the rest, right? So it's not like the rest don't get anything, right? That's real reason for hatred, right? And jealousy and such. So you got 10 heirs. The firstborn gets 2, and everybody else gets 1 from an 11 total sum, right? It's 11 pieces in the pie. It's you always add 1. That's why when Elisha says to Eliyahu, let me have a double portion of the spirit that's on you, he's not saying I'm going to be greater than you. What an arrogant thing for a student to ask from the teacher. Let me be, you're not so great. Let me be at least double what you were. And that's how many of our Christian brothers understand it, right? May you have twice the anointing that's on me, right? That's unsustainable, right? And then that guy gets twice, and the next guy gets twice. And come on. What it means is there was a school of the prophets, and so Eliyahu had many students, and so there's going to be portions handed out, and Elisha's asking for a double portion, which means he will not even be as great as Eliyahu, but he will be double over all the other students. Right? He wants more. Give me some more. He's not a greedy guy saying, you're nothing. I'm going to be twice what you were. Really? Could you imagine the chutzpah? You're one of the greatest prophets our nation's ever had. Can I be double what you were? So it's just another example of why it's important to understand our traditions and how this stuff works for proper hermeneutics. All right, let's see. Continuing on, Genesis chapter 27, verse 37. Oops, that's right, I can't do that now. Hold on. Sorry. All right. Vaya'an Yitzchak, vayomer le'Esav, hein gevil, samtiv lach, et kol echayv, natati lo le'avarim, v'dagan v'tirash, semachtiv, ulecha efo ma'aseh benihi. Vaya, oh, no, sorry, over here. Vaya, then he, anad, he answered. That is a lamed hey verb, so it's just missing the hey. Then he answered, Yitzchak. Then Yitzchak, anad, he answered. Vayomer, and he said, le'Esav, to Esau. Hein, behold, Gevil, a master, Samtiv, I have seemed, I've set him. There's a yod which disappeared from this verb. Seem is the verb. I've said him. I'll just mark this one up a little bit. I'm not going to mark them all, don't worry, but for you students, Samtiv, I seemed him. I set him. I placed him, lach, over you, for you, literally. So as a gavil, I've set him for you. As a master, I've set him for you. Ve'et kol echayv, and all of his brothers. Natati, I have Natan. I have set or placed lo to him. You'll often see Sim and Natan together in parallel like that in biblical Hebrew prose. It'll say Natan and then Sim, or Sim and then Natan. La'avadim, as servants, or for servants. Vidagan, and the wheat, some say corn. V'tirosh, and the new wine. Semach tiv, I have. Samach is an interesting word. It literally means leaned. I've leaned him. But it also there's a deeper meaning to it, right? Like smicha. So this is the verb that's used in Vaikra, in Leviticus, when the priest leans on the goat or whatever animal he leans on it, like transferring the sins and such. It's samach. And it's also what's used to show support, right? It's also what's used, we get it down from it, smicha, which is ordination, right? To lay your hands on someone and ordain them for some particular office. And we also get smechut, which is this thing I've highlighted in blue. What's it called in English? Smechut. Not the genitive, the construct state. So anyway, so semach tiv, I have. So it's like appointed, right? Appointed him. Ulecha. So for you, and notice the strange way that he's spelling lacha here. It's kind of interesting, right? It's an older way with the hey at the end for the ah. Eifo. Ma. What then? Then what? That's I. Yeah, say, what shall I do? Beni, my son. Regarding the Gevir Samti Lach, Midrash Beshit Rabbah 67:5 points out, behold, I made him your Lord. This is irrevocable because it was divinely inspired. And Yitzchak understands this. Rivka, his wife, the prophetess, she knew it. She received the message from Hashem, the dream from Hashem. And also now, Yitzchak realizes it really was supposed to happen because now he's also heard about the actions. He's heard. Lakach bichati. He bought my birthright. He bought it, which means I sold it. I'm a disgusting seller of the birthright. I don't care about the family stuff, as we'll see with his marriage choices later on as well. Okay, verse 38. Vayomer Esau el aviv havracha achat ki lecha avi baracheni gamani avi vayisa Esau kolo vayevek. I'll admit this is moving, even though he's a grown man, still moving. Vayomer Esau. Then Esau said, El Aviv, unto his father, Havracha achat, ki lecha. Is that one blessing that you have, my father? Literally, Havracha, the blessing, achat, one. Again, he doesn't speak grammatically correct Hebrew. Just so you know, it's kind of weird. He or is lecha to you, Avi, my father. Baracheni, bless me. Gam, also ani, also I. Avi, my father. Vayisa, and this word, I bet you know what it is if we just reconstruct it. In ancient Hebrew, it would have said vayin sa, because there was a noon. A noon right there. Boom. Well, it's kind of hard to read, isn't it? I should have made it less thick. Hold on. Let's try that again. So the noon would have been there. But instead, it goes inside of the scene. Vayin sa became vayisa. Nasa carries things into space. So nasa is to carry or to bear. Vayisa, Isa. Then Isa lifted up, like NASA lifts up things. Kol O, the voice of O, his voice. Vayevik. Now this verb is a lamed he verb. The he has gone away. The verb is actually bacha. So there's a he at the end, right? Bacha. Beit, kaf, he. And it's onomatopoetic. It sounds like what it's doing. Bacha, bacha, bacha. To cry, right? To weep. Vayevik, and he wept. Vayisa Isau. Then Isa Nasad, he lifted up Kol O, his voice, which actually should have been Et Kolo. To be correct with biblical Hebrew grammar, we would have expected Et right here. His voice, because it's definite. Vayevik, and he wept. So the Hebrew's a little incorrect, interestingly. So there might be, and we know that the author knows how to use et properly because look, he's using it up here just fine. So he uses the ets. So there might be some hidden treasure there for those of you who like to dig down to the sod level. I don't usually do that. So it's beyond my maybe interest. Because I think when there's a deep treasure like that, it's really hard to get to sometimes. But if anyone's interested, there might be for grammatical reasons or some other reason why the et is missing, right? Because that would change the value of things. So kind of interesting. Because that's not Esau speaking anymore. So we can't just chalk that up to that's how he talked, right? Unless the author, the scribe, the prophet, is making fun of how Esau spoke by imitating it, by leaving out the et. Because look, he knows et here, there's an et, and he uses it correctly, right? When Yitzchak's speaking, so he might be like making fun of him a little bit, that he can't even speak Hebrew quite correctly. I don't know. I mean, there's possibilities. What do you think? I'd be interested in knowing what you guys think. Let me know in the live chat right now, or let me know in a comment down below why the et is missing. It's the case of the missing et. You see, so grammatically it should say, Vayisa Esau et kol o vayevik. And then Esau raised up. This is the definite direct object marker. Kol lo is a definite direct object, so it needs a definite direct object marker. And then vayevik, and he wept. All right. Any comments or questions? Just realized I've gone kind of long without giving you a break. So I think now's a good moment. Why don't you take a break, and we'll put on some Hebrew literacy original music for you to enjoy if you don't want to go anywhere. And if you do go somewhere, when the music stops, you've got a few seconds to get back. I'm not sure how long, which song I'll choose to put in there. So assume around 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes for the break, okay? See you when you get back.
Adonai is on high over the rolling skies. From the rivers rolling wide to where the sparrows fly. His hand etched the hills where the wild winds blow. Kol kavod lo, kol kavod lo. From heights to depths, through the rain's embrace, he's the light that guides each shadow space. Yesterday, today, his love will overflow. Kol kavod lo, kol kavod lo. He chose the mountains, he chose the streams, he chose a people to walk through his dreams. With every step, his light we follow. Through joy, through pain, through every morrow. From heights to depths, through the rain's embrace, he's the light that guides each shadow space. Yesterday, today, his love will overflow. Kol kavod lo, kol kavod lo. He pulls me from there. lifts up my soul, sets my spirit free. His words a flame, a guiding glow. Kol kavod lo, kol kavod lo. From heights to depths, through the rays embrace, He's the light that guides each shadowed space. Yesterday, today, His love will overflow. Kol kavod lo, kol kavod lo. Ooh, 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 ooh. He pulls me from depths where the heart doesn't see. He lifts up my soul, sets my spirit free. His words a flame, a guiding glow. Kol kavod lo, kol kavod lo. He pulls me from depths where the heart doesn't see. He lifts up my soul, sets my spirit free. His words a flame, a guiding glow. Kol kavod lo. Ooh, 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 ooh. From heights to depths, through the rays embrace, He's the light that guides each shadowed space. Yesterday, today, His love will overflow. Kol kavod lo, kol kavod lo. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Hey, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your break. I ate a piece of garlic bread, which was great. And I've got my lemon water now with me, ready to roll. Everyone should be heading back from their stretch breaks, coffee break, whatever it is you were doing. Let's continue with Genesis chapter 27, verse 39. Vayan pardon me. Vayan Yitzchak aviv vayomer elai hinei mishmanei haaretz. If you're just listening along, I changed slides back. Yihye moshavecha omital hashamayim me'al. Okay. Vayoran. So again, that is, and he answered, right? So again, we got the verb that ends in a hey. It's a lamed hey verb. So the actual word is ra'na. There's a little hey there. Then he answered. Who answered? Yitzchak aviv. Isaac his father. Vayomer, and he said, alive unto him. Hine, behold. Mish. And again, we would expect a dagesh there. I think it just might have worn out. You can kind of see there's a little something there, isn't there? There's a little smudge. Like maybe the dagesh wore out over time. So min, from the shemane, oils of or fats of, haaretz, the land, yichyeh, will be, moshavecha, your moshav, your habitation. This is similar to, I don't know how much you guys know about the history of the modern state of Israel, but before we had our statehood, people referred to it as the Yeshuv, right? Which is this synonym for Moshav, the Moshav, right? The habitation, like the place where people lived. Okay, hold on. Where's my mouse pointer? All right, let's continue. The Moshav of Cha, your Moshav, Moshavecha. U and Min became Mit. So we have Min worked its way in there. Like Hamotzi Lachem Min Haaretz. So we have Min. And the noon is inside. That's why there's a dagesh there. And from the Tal of Hashemayim, of the heavens. So Umit Tal Hashemayim, and from the dew of the heavens. May, this is again Min. It's again Min. Min. The noon tried to go into the ayin. Ayin doesn't take a dagesh. And so instead we lengthen that I vowel to a. May is from the al above. May al from above. Verse 40. Ve'alcha becha tichyeh ve'et achicha ta'avod ve'haya kasher tarid ufarakta lo me'al tzavarecha ve'al from upon, or pardon me, not from, and with, or by, or upon, charbecha. This is the cherev. The word is cherev. Oh, sorry, I'm not translating the right place. Ve'al charbecha, and from upon your sword, your cherev, or by means of tichyeh, you will chaya, you will live. Ve'et achicha. Now we have special emphasis happening. Look at that. Remember, when you have et marking the definite direct object before the verb, when usually it comes after the verb, that is special emphasis. Your ach. Your ach. Trying to find it in the BHS now. Where were we? Okay, here it is. So this achicha is special emphasis. And the et, that's just the DDO, definite direct object marker. Okay. So again, and your brother, or but your brother, vet achicha ta'avod, you will serve. V'haya, and it shall be, ka'asher, according to how, tarid. So it's a little bit strange how it's phrased. So the verbal root is yarad, to come down. This is a hefil. Right? See hefil? You can tell by the yod jammed in there before the end. So the first yod went away, yarad. Maybe I'll mark that. Yod, resh, dalet. So yod is gone. And the second yod, well, that's just part of the hefil, which is causative. So if yarad is to go down, and the ta is you, but it's hefil, so it's causative, then it's you will bring down. Tarid. So instead of kasher, according to how, I'm going to render that when, or then. Tarid, you will bring down. Ufarakta, and you will break or tear off. U'olo, that's the ol, or the ol of, his yoke. Me'al, from upon. Tzavarecha, your neck. Okay, 41. Vayistom. Sorry, I forgot we're canting. Vayistom, I saw it, Yaakov. Al habracha, asher be'acho aviv. Vayomer Esau, belibo, ikavu, yemei, Emel Avi, Vahaga, et Yaakov Achi, Vayistom. Over here. Vayistom. So Satam, it's like to be bitter. the sages understand it as to hate, right? To have animosity. So, Vayistom, I saw. So I saw hated. And see, look, here we have the regular use of et. So we have our verb, satam. I'm going to mark it in the BHS instead, okay? Verb. Then we have the definite direct object marker, as we expect. And then we have our object, Yaakov. Whom did he hate? Yaakov. So that's the normal order. If it had said et Yaakov before the verb, there'd be some kind of special emphasis, like his brother he hated. Okay, so that's not saying that. Midrash Breshit Rabbah 67:8 says, I saw harbored hatred for Jacob. This hatred is eternal until the end of days. Right? Despite the kind of stuff we see later in the story. Vayishtom I saw it, Yaakov, al habaracha, concerning or over the beracha, the blessing. Right? Important, not the bechol, but the bracha, the blessing. Right? Maybe you didn't realize there's a blessing associated with being firstborn. Asher, which, or with which, beracho, blessed him, aviv, his father. And here you notice, here's a verb, and then we have, granted, it's a relative pronoun, but it's kind of a noun. When you have a noun before the verb, oftentimes that indicates instrumental usage of the noun, right? That's why I said with which. Asher, with which, beracho, he blessed, aviv, his father. Or blessed him, his father. Better translation. The him being Yaakov. Okay. Okay, where are we? Vayomer. Then he said, Isa. Then Isa said, Belib. Oh, now literally this is in the levav of, in his heart, right? Again, just more proof that this word really means mind in Hebrew. He said in his mind, right? So he said to himself. You can translate. He said to himself, Yikrevu. They will karav, they will approach, they will draw near. What's the subject? Yamei Evil Avi. Rather, Yamei Evil Avi. So Yamim becomes Yamei, days of Evil, morning of Avi, my father, meaning after the father's dead. Then, oh, Harga. So Harag is the verb. Oh, Harga. So the this is I will Harag, I will slay. And that final hey, some call this the emphatic hey. Notice using magenta for our emphasis. But when you have a verb that's in the first person with that thing, so I or we, then usually we call that the cohortative form. So, haga. Indeed, I will harag, I will slay. Et. The DDO. Yaakov, achi. Jacob, my brother. What a great guy, right? See how great he is? We should feel bad for him and really think of Jacob as the evil one, right? Because he swindled him out of the birthright, which God had already told his mother he shouldn't have. Come on, break away from those stupid interpretations. Anti-Semitic and stupid. Any comments or questions before we go on? I'm going to read from the Leningrad Codex one more time. Just reading. ויען יצחק אביו, ויאמר אליו, הנה, משמני הארץ יחיה מושבך, ומטל השמיים מעל, ועל חרבך תחיה ואת אחיך תעבוד. והיה כאשר תריד ופרקת עולו מעל צווארך. ויסתום עשו את יעקב על הברכה אשר ברכו אביו. ויאמר עשו בליבו, יקרבו ימי אבל אבי ואהרגה את יעקב אחי. Genesis chapter 27, verse 42. ויוגד לרבקה את דברי עשה בנה הגדול, ותשלח Vatikraha Yaakov bena hakatan vatomer elai hine Esau achicha mitnachem lecha lehogecha. That, pardon me, was because I had messed up one of the singing notes. The monach there I sing is this guy. Okay. Vayugad. So this is from the verb nagad. Nagad. What happened is that noon assimilated again. Sorry, it looks kind of like a cough mine, but trying to draw on a vertical screen. It's a noon. It's a noon. The modern Hebrew scriptures write like that. Much easier to recognize. All right. So like Haggadah, Vayugad, and it was told, Vayugad, sorry, over here, Le Rivka, to Rivka, et Divrei Esau, the Devarim of Esau, the words of Esau, Benah, her son, Hagadol, her older son. Vatishlach, so she, Shalach, sent, Vatikra, and she called the Yaakov to Yaakov. That means she summoned Yaakov. Benah, her son. Which one? Hakatan, the younger one. Vatomer, then she said, a life unto him. Hine, Esau achicha, mitnachem lecha lehogecha. Okay. So, hine, behold, Esau achicha, Esau, your brother, mitnachem, is comforting himself. The hitpile to nachem, nacham, to feel sorry, to comfort. Hitpile means to do to oneself. He's comforting himself, like he's taking solace, lecha, concerning you, lehogecha, to sleicha, you. Such a jerk, this guy, right? He's going to do murder now. Nahum Sarner comments, Rebecca's alertness to Esau's threat reflects matriarchal wisdom steering destiny. All right, verse 43. Ve'ata v'nishma b'koli v'kom b'achlecha elavan achi charana. Ve'ata, so now, Veni, my son, Shema Bekoli, obey me, literally, hear my voice. Vekum, and arise. Berach, flee, lecha, yourself, for yourself. Run for your life, basically. El Lavan, unto Lavan, whose name is kind of funny. It means it's like calling somebody Whitey. Unto Whitey, Achi, my brother. Charana. Here we have the halocative, towards Charan. I think Lavan was maybe a albino. You know, some people are just born like missing some kind of pigment thing. So he's an albino. That's why they called him Whitey. Kind of like Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, was clearly, in my mind, he clearly is a white man. A white. I think he was an albino. Because there's lots of hadiths that talk about how white he was and all that stuff. I think that's why he's so popular, right? They like that because there's a rare thing for an albino. Okay. And I think it's also why he was so racist against black people. You know, if you read carefully the literature, you'll find that it's very, very racist. The original Islamic documents. Okay, go. Okay, verse 44. Ve'yashavta imo yamim achadim ad asher tashuv chamarat achicha. Okay, verse 44. Ve'yashavta. So yashavta means you dwelt. But ve'yashavta here means then you will dwell. Imo, with him. Yamim achadim. So that's kind of interesting. Like united days is what it's saying. Right? So maybe this is some kind of lost meaning. I mean, you can tell in context it's saying for some time, right? Stay with him for some time. And yamim oftentimes means years. So stay with him some years. But achadim, right? It's the plural of echad, of one, right? Like Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Pardon me, until asher, when tashuv, you will return, or shall, not you will return, sorry. Tashuv does mean you will return, but then I glance at the subject that comes afterwards. And chema, written here chamat because it's construct form. Chema is heat, meaning anger, right? And it's also feminine. So when you put a ta at the beginning of an imperfect verb, that can be you talking to a man, or it can mean she. Here it's she. So until she will return, what will return? The chamat achicha, the wrath of your brother, the heat of your brother. By the way, make sure to check out the song we have over on Patreon about chema. So there's a little song to help you memorize that meaning. All right, any comments or questions? Great, let's continue. Genesis chapter 27, verse 45. עד שוב אבכך ממך ושכח את אשר עשית לו ושלחתי ולקחתיך משם למה אשכול גם שניכם יום אחד. Okay. Ad, until, shuv. And then here she uses another word for anger. Da af achicha, which means the nostril of your brother, which also means anger, right? The idea is, I believe that the idea is that the nostrils flare up with some people when they're mad. I used to know someone like this, is kind of freaky, and the nostrils would look like they're breathing when they're really mad. So ad shuv af achicha, until the nostril of your brother turns or returns. Mimecha, from you. Veshachach, and he forgets, et asher, that which, la'asita, you did, lo, to him. Veshalachti, then I will send, velakachticha, and take you. Mish sham, that's min sham, from there. Lama, that's lama, for what? So for what reason? Eshkal, shall I be bereaved? Gam shenechem, also the two of you. Yom echad, one day. Verse 46. Vatomer Rivka el Yitzchak katzti bechayai mipnei benot chayth im lokeach Yaakov isha מbenot chayth kaele מbenot haaretz lamali chayim. Very nice how she's pitching this. Vatomer Rivka. Then Rivka said. So again, Tomer could be you said, or she said. It's she said. El unto Yitzchak. Katzti. So katz, it's from kutz, the verb kutz, so it's missing the vav in the middle. It's a hollow verb. And there's a word for thorn which is related to this. So it's like painful. I'm pained. Bechayai, in my life. Mi benot chayth. Mib, that's from penei. I skipped the penei there by accident. It's kind of daydreaming. The presence of benot chayth. So we have a big construct chain here, right? Oh, let's look at it in the BHS. Ve chayai, in my life. Mi, that's min, from da panim became penei, the presence of da benot, the daughters of chayth, meaning the Hittite girls. Im lokeach Yaakov, if Yaakov marries, if he takes isha, a woman, mi That's min. See the noon's hiding in the bait. From the benot chayth, the daughters of chayth. Ka'ele, like these ones. Mi benot ha'aretz, mi benot ha'aretz, the daughters of the land. Lama li chayim. Why am I alive? Literally, for what purpose? Li, to me, is there chayim. Tell us how you really feel about these Hittite girls. Sarna comments, Rebecca's strategic complaint about Hittite wives serves as a pretext to secure Isaac's consent for Jacob's departure. But she really does feel this way too, right? So, any comments or questions? I'm going to take a quick drink. Will you type out your question or comment? Ooh, I got really thirsty. By the way, please remember, everybody, we need to be praying for our brothers and sisters in Nigeria. There are many Christians who serve the God of Israel who are dying at the hand of Islamists. It's just crazy mass unaliving happening over there. So we need to pray for them, keep them in prayer. Write your senators, write your congressmen to the Americans. Brits, I don't know, write your parliamentarians. I don't know if it works for you guys. The West needs to care also when Christians are unalived, just like they care when Muslims are unalived. They sure care a lot about those in Gaza, don't they? Those who are dancing in the streets and hitting our young people and running in to do crimes. You know, a lot of the crimes that happened on October 7th were from just normal citizens running in. But they're not Hamas. Calling home, Mom, Dad, I unalived 10 Jews with my bare hands. And you hear the parents, Allahu Akbar, like, can't believe it. It's a despicable representation of that. So, and of course, the media is went crazy about the bombings in Gaza, the most ethical attack in military history. But there's just silence about Nigeria, about the senseless attack on brothers and sisters who believe in the God of Israel. Because that's okay, right? It's okay. If it's Bible believers, no problem. No problem. Who needs them, right? So please, especially prayer warriors, intercessors, remember them with me. If any of you have been considering doing a free will fast sometime, this would definitely be a worthy cause. I would recommend that. And it's indiscriminate. They don't care. Women, men, children, whatever. Anyone who believes on the God of Jacob is getting unalived. Because that's how that religion spreads. That's how they spread. They spread by having a lot of kids and by unaliving their competition or subjugating mercilessly, having to pay the jizya, a special tax, to stay alive. See, that alone shows you how unethical the faith system is. Their prophet says the worst sin is making someone a partner with God, right? I.e., how Christians have done traditionally with Yeshua, with Jesus, right? And so you think that means they got to be unalived. And they do have to be unalived, unless you pay racketeering money. Pay the mafia 20%, then you can live. 20%, then you can live. The jizya. You can become a dhimmi, a second-class citizen. It's so amazing how wicked people, they take the evil that they themselves do and they accuse others who don't do it of doing it. You know, 20% of Israelis are Arabs. Did you know that? 20%. 1 in 5 of our people, of our citizens rather, are Arabs. There are Arab judges. There are Arab MPs in the Knesset. There's no second-class citizen system in Israel. It's all a lie. The countries where you have second-class citizens, are the countries where the moon god reigns supreme. Those are the places. Yet they accuse us of it, right? In Gaza, there was very restrained attacks from the IDF, warning people, pamphlets, moving people around, creating safe corridors at the cost of our people's lives. Oh, I guess that's the only second class thing, but really it's a first class thing if you think about it. In Israel, Arabs don't have to serve in the army, they don't have to serve in the IDF. They can if they want to. They're not disqualified from doing it, of course. And there are actually many Bedouins who volunteer, who love their country, love Israel. They do volunteer, but they don't have to. You see how perverted it is to call Israel such a place that has second class citizenry, to claim it's an apartheid state or whatever? It's the other way around. Only Jews have to serve in the military. Anybody else doesn't have to. They can if they want to. They're not barred from it, but they're not forced to risk their lives, even though they are citizens enjoying the benefits of that first world nation in the Middle East. There's a nice YouTuber who defends Israel a lot. He's a British Israeli. Why can't I think of the name of his channel right now? I want to give him credit. Well, if it comes to me, I'll tell you. And he shared something that I find fascinating. Did you know that in Israel, there are Arab judges who have sent an Israeli prime minister and an Israeli president to jail? Now, does that sound like apartheid to you, an apartheid system to you, rather? Interesting, right? It's not a two-tier system. They have the same amount of rights as Jews have. We are a fair nation with equal justice under the law, except, alas, for the unborn. And for that, there's wickedness in Israel, just as there is in most of the world. Kudos and shout out to the 18 nations on this planet who do not allow abortion of any kind, of which my Filipino congregants and listeners can be proud to say you are one of them. In the Philippines, there is not the result of pro-life, but the result of abolitionism. Baruch Hashem. All right. Let's see. Where are we? Oh, we're done. I'm done with this page. And now the communists wrote on to the Leningrad Codex for us. Leningrad, now called St. Petersburg, chapter 28, verse 1. Thank you, comrade. Tavarish, я благодарю. Твой глупость. Такой дурак. Пишется на древний документ. Genesis chapter 28, verse 1. We're almost finished. Just 9 more verses to go. ויקרא יצחק אל יעקב ויברך אותו. ויצווהו ויאמר לו לא תיקח אישה מבנות כנען. ויקרא יצחק. Then Yitzchak called El unto Yaakov. Vayvarech, and he blessed Oto, him. Vayitzaveh, and he commanded who? Him. Kind of hard to see here. Who? Vayitzaveh, who? And he commanded who? Him. Vayomer, and he said lo to him. Lo tikach. That's not you will lakach. See? Lakach, the lamed is hiding. I'll show you. The verb is lakach. What has happened is the lamed has assimilated into the kuf. That's why there's that dot on the inside. The dagesh is there because of that. So tilkach became tikkach. Tikkach. Lo, not tikkach. Tilkach, not you will take. Isha, a woman. Min became mib from Benot Canaan, the daughters of Canaan. Kum, arrive. Lech. Lech is from the verb halach. The hay went away. It's an imperative form. Take, or pardon me, go. Sorry, halach, go. Padena aram. So it's interesting how it phrases it here. Padena. This is a hey locative. The place is called Padan Aram. But go to Padena Aram. Rashi explains this to be to mean the plains of Aram. Right? Like, so go to the plains of Aram. Beita. So here we have another hey locative. Towards the Beit, towards the house of Bethuel. It's actually a construct with a hey locative on. So Beita Bethuel. Right? There's a lot going on there. Maybe let's label that. I think I'll label that. So we have a hey locative here. Beta. To the house of Bethuel. So we have two hey locatives, kind of interesting, right? In the same. So maybe Yitzchak just likes to talk this way. Instead of just saying Padan Aram, he says Padena Aram, to the plain of Aram, to Padan Aram. Beta, to the house of Bethuel. Avi, Imecha, the father of your mother. I shouldn't have said Avi, I should have said Avi Imecha. So it looks like my father, and it's written the same way. What's happening is that Yod there, this is just a very old genitive form from Old Hebrew that has survived, and that's how that word works, right? So that's why if you want to say your father, Avicha, we still have the Yod there. So it's father of Ha, you see? That's how the construct is formed in that word. So it looks the same as my father, just context changes it a bit. To the father of Imecha, of your mother. The Kach, and take. Again, la Kach, take. Lecha, for yourself. Min Sham became Misham from there. Isha, a woman. Min became Mib from Benot Lavan, the daughters of Whitey, the daughters of Lavan. Ach, Achi Imecha, the brother of Achi does the same thing, right? The brother of your mother. Okay. Notice Hebrew does this instead of just saying uncle. Right? Biblical Hebrew would say the brother of your mother, the sister of your mother, the brother of your father, the sister of your father. There is a word for uncle, but anyway, this is how biblical Hebrew likes to do it. All right, verse 3. Be'el Shaddai Yevarech Otecha Ve'afrecha ve'abecha Ve'ita Lekahal, pardon me, Lekahal Amihim. The El Shaddai, one of God's titles. Then El Shaddai, Yevarech Otecha, he will bless you. Again, we're seeing Yitzchak's speech patterns. He could have said Yevarechecha, right? Like Moshe writes, the Birchat HaKohanim, although technically Hashem spoke that blessing directly. Then he will bless Otcha, you, Otcha. Ve'yafricha. And this is a he fill. And he will cause you to be fruitful. Ve'yalbecha, and he will make you numerous. Ve'haita, look, it's like prophetic, right? And you will be likhal amim, or lik kahal amim. So haya, I'm going to show you. We have an idiom. We have a Hebrew idiom here. Haya plus le. It can either mean exactly that. It can either mean like to be to, right? Or it can mean become. Become. That's the idiomatic understanding. Okay. So vehaitol, then you will become a kahal amim, an assembly of peoples. Sarna comments, El Shaddai is invoked to bestow fertility, a deliberate echo of promises to the patriarchs. I'm going to take a drink. Any comments or questions? right. Genesis chapter 28, verse 4, and there's just one more page after this. Vayiten lecha et birkat Avraham lecha ulezacha. Pardon me. Ulezacha yitzchak lerishtercha et eretz megorecha asher natan Elohim leAvraham lerishtercha. Oops, we missed the top part. Sorry. So what happened was, this is from the bottom of the previous column. V'yitain lecha, and he will give to you et the akat Avraham, the bracha, the blessing of Avraham, lecha, to you, ulizaracha, and to your offspring, itach, with you. Lerishtercha, to take possession, you, et the eretz megurecha, the land of your sojourning, asher, which Natan Elohim, God gave the Avraham, to Avraham. Okay, verse 5. Vayishlach Yitzchak et Yaakov, vayelech padena Aram, elavahan ben Bethuel, ha'arami, achi, Rivka, Aim Yaakov ve'Esau. Okay, verse 5. Vayishlach Yitzchak. Then Yitzchak sent et Yaakov. Don't know why that keeps happening while I'm reading. Vayelech, and he went Padena Aram, to the plains of Aram. Again, according to Rashi. El Lavan, unto Lavan, ben Bethuel, the son of Bethuel, Ha'arami, the Aramean. Now, these two diamond-looking things are just space savers, just showing there's some space here, not to think anything got erased. Okay, this is just how the scribe wanted to do that. Okay. Achira Rivka, the brother of Rivka. Aim Yaakov, the mother of Yaakov, the Esau and Esau. Verse 6. Vayar Esau ki verach Yitzchak. Vayar Esau. Then Esau saw ki, that verach Yitzchak, that Yitzchak had blessed et Yaakov. Shilach, and sent. Why do we have those symbols? I think just more space symbols. Yep. Just so we know nothing's missing. Oto, him, Padena Aram, to the plains of Aram. Lakachat, lo, to take for him. Misham, that's min sham, from there. Isha, a woman. Bivaracho, oto. Is that, does it really say that? I need to look over here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. When he blessed him. Bivaracho, when he blessed, oto, him. Vaitzav, and he commanded, and this is just to show there's nothing missing, alive concerning him, Lemo, saying, Lo tikach, you shall not take Isha, a woman, mi banot Canaan, from the daughters of Canaan. In the Midrash Breshit Rabbah 67:8, we learn that in Esau's action, an attempt to regain lost favor. That's what we see. His action is an attempt to regain lost favor, but without true teshuvah, without true repentance. And here we are at the end of the Torah portion. As you can see, there's a marker here showing that the next Triennial Parashah starts, and also the fuller marking, Parat here, that shows that the annual Torah portion begins as well. So that's right here, Genesis 28, verse 10. They both begin there next week. Not saying that we're in sync with this one, right? But if that was the next one in the linear, it would begin at that section. All right, Genesis chapter 28, verse 7. Vayishma Yaakov el aviv el imo, vayelech padena Aram, Vayishma Yaakov. So Yaakov obeyed, literally he heard, El Aviv, unto his father, El Immo, and unto his mother, Vayelech, and he went, Padena Aram, to the plains of Aram. Verse 8. Vaya Isa Kiraot Benot Kenaan Be'anei Yitzchak Aviv. Vayel Esau. Then Esau noticed, Ki Raot, evil were, Da Benot Kenaan, the daughters of Canaan, Be, in, Da Ainei Yitzchak, the eyes of Yitzchak Aviv, his father. Verse 9. Vayelech Esau el Yishmael, Vayikach et Machalat, Bat Yishmael. Oh, pardon me. I didn't notice the next one. When this one's followed by this one, it sounds different. Bat Yishmael ben Avraham, Achot Nevayot, Al Nasaiv Lo Leisha. Okay, verse 9. Vayelech Isa, so Isa went, El unto Yishmael, Vayikach, and he took Et Machalath, that's her name, Da Bat Yishmael, the daughter of Ishmael, Da Ben Avraham, the son of Abraham, Da Achot Nevayoth, the sister of Nevayoth, Al Nashaiv, lo, with his wives, lo, for him, Leisha, as a wife. Midrash Beshit Rabbah 68, paragraph 4 teaches us that Esau went to Ishmael to gain favor by marrying within the family, right? So that's why, so at least he's trying to gain his father's favor, even though technically doesn't deserve it. All right, that concludes our Torah portion. Hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot and really appreciated the ancient texts as I do. Well, I'm just so grateful, so grateful. Modeh, so grateful that Hashem has given us access to such amazing resources in our days. Please spread the word if you know anybody else who'd like to read 1,000-year-old Hebrew. I mean, well, the Hebrew's older, but from a document that's 1,000 years old with us, and to study the Torah like we do with the more ancient Triennial Torah cycle rather than the more modern yearly cycle. Nothing wrong with the modern. If you can do both, that's best. But I really like these ancient things, and I like doing it the way that I believe the Master did it. What's our lekach today? Pretty straightforward. The most important aspect of marriage is selection. Don't rush through this part, young people. And ironically, the main reason that most people get married to someone is location. They just happen to work with the person. They just happen to go to school with that person. So there's not really a big search that's put on. We live in the internet age. You could find the right person anywhere around the world today. So don't shortchange yourself by just choosing the gal next door, the guy next door. And they might be for you. Maybe Hashem sent them for you. But selection is so very important with all of the marital issues that people have. Most of it could have been handled through proper selection. Parents who are in God's will should approve of the spouse for the child. And by child, you could be 30-something. If your parents are walking in God's ways, you should desire their approval for your spouse. This will also bring blessing. Pray for the Christians in Nigeria. They serve the God of Israel, do not deserve to be slaughtered by the moon god rock kissers, by those pagan kissers of the rock, of the black stone, who bow down and kiss a stone. So shameful how the Nachash uses them to destroy people of faith. אין לנו כהן, אין לנו לוי, פה אעשה את הברכה הזאת, אחרי סדר מלכי צדק, כי יש לנו כהן בשמיים ממעל, ישוע שמו. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panai v'elecha v'choneka. Yisa Adonai panai v'elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shavua Tov, be blessed. Look forward to seeing all of you in my various classes this next week. Have a good one.
His words a flame, a guiding glow. Kol kavod lo. From heights to depths, through the rain's embrace, he's the light that guides each shadowed space. Yesterday, today, his love will overflow. Kol kavod lo, kol kavod lo.